They were the brothers who changed pop music forever. The Jackson 5 burst onto the scene in the late 1960s, transforming a family band into a global phenomenon with their unforgettable harmonies, dazzling dance moves, and chart-topping hits. But behind the glittering success was a story filled with highs and lows, loyalty and loss. Why did the Jackson 5 leave Motown? Why did they change their name? And what became of the original members after the spotlight faded? Stay tuned as we reveal the fascinating lives of the brothers who once ruled the charts and captured the hearts of millions. This is The Jackson 5, 1960s members then and now, 2025, the beginning of the Jackson 5. The Jackson 5 got their name because the group was made up of 5 siblings, all with the last name Jackson. These 5 brothers were born and raised in Gary, Indiana, where they experienced a strict and often tense upbringing under their father, Joe Jackson. Despite the challenges at home, Joe recognized early on that his sons had remarkable musical talent. He saw an opportunity, not just to showcase their gifts, but also as a way to lift the family out of their tough working-class life. He started by forming a group with his 3 oldest sons, Jackie, Tito, and Germaine. Joe took the trio to perform at local bars, clubs, and talent shows across Indiana. Occasionally, 2 of their cousins would join them on stage. As time went on, Joe realized his 2 youngest sons, Marlon and Michael, were just as talented. The cousins were gradually replaced, and Marlon and Michael became part of the group. Joe pushed all of his sons to perfect not just their singing, but their dancing and stage presence too. When Marlon and Michael joined, the group officially became known as the Jackson 5. Together, the brothers entered and won singing competitions throughout the state, eventually capturing first place at a major contest in New York, marking the true start of their professional career. The youngest brother, Randy Jackson, wasn't part of the original group because of the 5 in the name, but he later joined performances and appeared in their television specials. Over the years, the Jackson 5 story has been told in several films and TV series, the most famous being a 5-part miniseries that aired on ABC in 1992, showcasing the rise of the group and the early brilliance of young Michael Jackson. Why Jackson 5 changed their name? By 1976, the Jackson 5 were at the height of their fame. Brothers Germaine, Tito, Jackie, Marlon, and Michael had captivated the world, seemingly bursting onto the scene to dominate the charts through the late 60s and early 70s. All of the brothers, and their other siblings who weren't part of the group, were born to Joseph and Catherine Jackson in Gary, Indiana, a gritty steel town just outside Chicago. Joe Jackson worked various tough, labor-intensive jobs to provide for his growing family. But everything began to change when he noticed Tito strumming on one of his guitars. Joe was so impressed by Tito's natural ability that he encouraged him to take lessons. It wasn't long before the other brothers started joining in, and what began as a pastime soon turned into something much bigger. With Joe stepping in as manager, the brothers quickly became a polished act. After a short stint with Steeltown Records that gave them some early exposure, the group landed a life-changing deal with Motown in 1968. From there, they soared, debuting with 4 back-to-back #1 hits, including unforgettable songs like ABC and I'll Be There. On the surface, their success seemed unstoppable. But behind the scenes, cracks were beginning to show. By 1975, as the New Yorker reported, the brothers were growing increasingly frustrated with how Motown handled their careers. A change was on the horizon, one that wouldn't just cost them a founding member, but would force them to leave behind the name the Jackson 5, too. The messy story of how the Jackson 5 left Motown. Motown was a fascinating record label, responsible for some of the biggest hits in America and around the world. It became so focused on producing chart toppers that the creative process started to feel more like a finely tuned factory than an artistic endeavor. They didn't call it Hitsville USA for nothing. But behind the success Motown wasn't without its controversies. Berry Gordy, the label's founder, has often faced criticism for how he handled business with his artists. While many musicians were just thrilled to have a chance to record and didn't think too much about where the money was going, others eventually grew frustrated when they realized the financial side wasn't what it seemed. That's exactly what happened with the Jackson 5. At the time, the Jackson 5 were the biggest boy band in America. Sure, Michael was the undeniable star. His voice, charm, and charisma were magnetic, but his brothers Germaine, Tito, Jackie, and Marlon played a huge role in creating the sound and energy that fans loved. Together, they delivered music that made people want to dance, sing along, and fall in love with their joyful spirit. If anyone doubted how popular they were, all they had to do was look at the charts. The Jackson 5 were everywhere, with hit after hit and fans packing venues across the country. Motown was making a fortune off the group, but the brothers weren't seeing their fair share. When they finally questioned where the money was going, they got a harsh reality check. The contract they had signed entitled them to just 2.9% of the profits. The gap between what the Jackson 5 were earning and what they were truly worth had grown impossible to ignore. Eventually, the brothers decided it was time to move on and sign with another label. But Berry Gordy wasn't about to let them go without a fight. Furious at their decision, he threatened them with a breach of contract lawsuit if they dared to leave Motown. Still, the Jacksons didn't back down and made the leap to Epic Records. Jackson 5 moved to Epic Records. The Jackson 5's big move to Epic Records in 1976 was announced with all the fanfare you'd expect, at a flashy press conference even while the group was still under contract with Motown. Behind the scenes, though, the brothers had grown increasingly frustrated. As the New Yorker reported at the time, they felt that Motown, despite being the label that launched them to stardom, wasn't giving them the credit or the compensation they deserved. When asked if they'd tried to renegotiate their deal, Jackie Jackson didn't hold back. Sure, we tried to renegotiate with Motown, but the figures were just Mickey Mouse. Tito summed it up even more bluntly. Motown sells a lot of singles. Epic sells a lot of albums. But before they could release anything under their new label, there was a hurdle. They couldn't take the Jackson 5 name with them. Motown owned the rights. And to make things even trickier, they weren't 5 anymore. Germaine, who was married to Berry Gordy's daughter Hazel, chose to stay behind with Motown. His spot was filled by their younger brother, Randy. That's when the Jackson 5 officially became the Jacksons, and Tito's words turned out to be right on the money. At Epic, the Jacksons began selling albums by the millions. Their first release under the new name became their first certified gold album, Fight for the Spotlight, Michael and Germaine inside the Jackson 5. Being in a band with your siblings might sound like the perfect setup, but in reality, it can be just as much a challenge as it is a dream. Today, the Jackson 5 are remembered for their catchy pop hits, smooth dance moves, and unmistakably 70s style. They were also the world's first introduction to the boy who would become the king of pop, Michael Jackson. But before Michael took center stage, the group's original lead singer was his older brother, Germaine. While the chemistry between Michael and Germaine looked harmonious on stage during their Motown years, the relationship became more complicated as time went on. Germaine was the only brother besides Michael to find real success as a solo artist, but his achievements were often overshadowed by Michael's meteoric rise. The rivalry between them, fueled partly by the media, turned into open tension during the 1980s, even leading to a 1991 diss track from Germaine. Still, for all the friction, Germaine always put family first, publicly defending Michael during some of his darkest moments, from allegations and controversies to the end of his life in 2009. Once launched, the Jackson 5 made history with hits like I Want You Back and I'll Be There. Michael and Germaine's vocal chemistry helped define their sound. In fact, Michael often credited Germaine as his early inspiration. Growing up, it was Germaine I focused on. I loved his sound. He showed me the way. In later years, Germaine reflected on their deep bond, saying, "Michael and I spent all our downtime together in those days. I can't remember an argument or a fight in our childhood. Michael looked up to me. I looked out for him." So, where did the rivalry come from? It likely began as a marketing tool. Motown and the media played up individual personalities to fuel fan interest. Who was the funny one? The sporty one? The heartthrob? Fans had favorites, sparking playground debates and feeding the frenzy that surrounded the Jackson 5. Some people were drawn to Michael for his infectious energy and cherubic smile, while others admired Germaine, who gave the group a more mature edge as the band's teen heartthrob. Motown, along with magazines and fan clubs, helped craft the image of a rivalry, starting with their first solo releases. Both Michael and Germaine's solo projects were designed to boost the Jackson 5 brand as a whole, but the press quickly turned it into a competition. As early as 1972, reporters were already asking Michael if he planned to leave the group and go solo. Michael always insisted no, that the solo records were just side projects. But the idea of rivalry had taken hold. While Michael became the group's standout, Germaine's soulful voice had its own special charm. His 1972 hit Daddy's Home went gold, and his early solo albums showed his talent. Off stage, Germaine's life took a turn when he married Hazel Gordy, Berry Gordy's daughter, at a lavish Beverly Hills wedding. But as the Jackson family grew disillusioned with Motown's tight grip on their creative control and royalties, they decided to leave for Epic Records in 1975, except Germaine, who chose to stay loyal to Motown. His decision, rooted in gratitude to the label, left him feeling isolated. In later interviews, Germaine admitted those first weeks apart from his brothers were some of the loneliest of his life. Even as he tried to support his family from afar, the bond they'd built felt torn. Michael, too, felt the loss. He wrote about how painful those first shows without Germaine were, missing the brother who'd always been by his side on stage. What happened to the Jackson 5 brothers after their glory days? Tito Jackson. Tito Jackson, born Toriano Adderall. Jackson, on October 15, 1953, in Gary, Indiana, was the third of 9 Jackson siblings and an essential part of the Jackson 5. From a young age, Tito's guitar skills and smooth, soulful voice helped define the group's signature Motown sound. As the quiet force on stage, Tito provided the steady rhythm and harmony that supported the band's explosive frontmen. Alongside his brothers Michael, Germaine, Jackie, and Marlon, Tito helped launch a musical phenomenon that swept the world in the late 1960s and early 70s, delivering timeless hits like I Want You Back and ABC. Even after the height of the Jackson 5's fame, Tito remained dedicated to his music. He toured for decades with Jackie and Marlon as the Jacksons, keeping the family's legacy alive on stages across the globe. In 2003, he began a solo career focused on blues, the genre he loved deeply. His albums Tito Time, 2016, and Under Your Spell, 2021, showcased his versatility as a musician and earned him respect as a bluesman in his own right. His single Get It Baby, featuring Big Daddy Kane, even cracked the Billboard charts. Beyond the stage, Tito's life reflected a deep dedication to family. In June 1972, at just 18 years old, he married Dolores D.D. Martes. Together they had 3 sons, Taj, Terrell, and TJ, who would go on to find success as the R&B pop group 3T. Sadly, Tito's personal life was not without heartbreak. His marriage to Dee ended in 1988, and tragedy struck in 1994 when Dee was found dead under suspicious circumstances. The man responsible, Donald Bohanna, was eventually convicted of her murder. Despite this, Tito remained a devoted father, playing a guiding role in his sons' lives and careers. Later in life, Tito found love again, and, though kept largely out of the public eye, married Mizuki Matsui in 2020. They welcomed a daughter, Tariana Catherine Jackson, in March of that year, bringing him joy in his later years. Tragically, on September 15, 2024, Tito passed away at the age of 70. While driving with his business partner, Terry Harvey, from New Mexico to Oklahoma to transport his antique cars, Tito began feeling unwell. He complained of chest pains, and despite being rushed to a local hospital in Gallup, New Mexico, he couldn't be saved. It was reported that he likely suffered a heart attack while behind the wheel. His final words to Terry were, "I ain't feeling good in my chest." Tito's death devastated his family, especially his sons, Taj, Terrell, and TJ, members of the 90s R&B group 3T. In a heartfelt tribute on Instagram, they described their father as an incredible man who cared deeply for others. His passing came just days after his final public performance in Munich, Germany, where he had been preparing for more shows with Jackie and Marlon. On November 4, 2024, Tito was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Hollywood Hills, near his father Joe and brother Michael. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, the eighth child of the famous Jackson family, began his incredible journey as the lead singer of the Jackson 5. Joining the band at just 6 years old, Michael's extraordinary voice, electric dance moves, and undeniable stage presence quickly made him the star of the group. As the Jackson 5 dominated the charts in the late 1960s and early 1970s, Michael's talent shone brighter with each performance, setting the stage for what would become one of the most legendary solo careers in music history. Known as the King of Pop, Michael redefined popular music, dance, and fashion with groundbreaking albums like Thriller, Bad, and Dangerous. His influence on global culture is unmatched. He became a symbol of artistic innovation and humanitarian outreach, earning an estimated 400 million record sales worldwide. His list of accolades is staggering. 15 Grammy Awards, 6 Brit Awards, a Golden Globe, 39 Guinness World Records, and 13 #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. He was the first artist to land a top 10 hit in 5 different decades. But behind the dazzling success was a life filled with pressure, controversy, and personal struggles. From the late 1980s onward, Michael's changing appearance, relationships, and reclusive lifestyle fueled endless media speculation. In 2009, as he prepared for his highly anticipated This Is It comeback tour, a 50-show run in London that was meant to mark his return to the stage, tragedy struck. Michael died suddenly at age 50 from cardiac arrest caused by a fatal overdose of propofol and benzodiazepine. His personal physician, Conrad Murray, was later convicted of involuntary manslaughter for his role in Michael's death. Michael's passing devastated fans around the world. His brothers Tito, Marlon, Jackie, Germaine, and Randy served as pallbearers at his memorial, paying tribute to the brother who changed music forever. Michael was survived by his 3 children, Prince, Paris, and Biggie, formerly known as Blanket, who continue to honor his legacy. Jackie Jackson. Jackie Jackson, born Sigmund Esco Jackson in 1951, is the eldest of the legendary Jackson brothers and one of the founding members of the Jackson 5. Known for his smooth vocals, energetic performances, and steady presence, Jackie played a key role in shaping the group's infectious sound that took the world by storm in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Though often in the background, his voice shone through on several of the group's hits, and his signature moves brought an added flair to the stage. Outside the group, Jackie explored solo projects. His debut solo album, Jackie Jackson, was released in 1973, followed by Be the One in 1989. While his solo work saw modest success, Jackie's heart remained with his family and their collective musical legacy. Over the years, he performed with his brothers, including memorable Las Vegas shows in 2012 that thrilled fans eager to see the Jacksons together again. Beyond performing, Jackie transitioned into roles behind the scenes. In 2010, he served as an executive producer for The Jacksons, a family dynasty, a reality series offering a glimpse into the family's life after Michael's passing. He became a trusted consultant for Michael's estate, helping to protect and honor his brother's legacy through projects like the Michael Jackson Cirque du Soleil productions. Jackie also continued to work in music as a mentor and producer through his label, Critically Amused. His personal life has seen its ups and downs. Jackie has been married 3 times and is the father of 4 children. His first marriage to Enid Spann ended in divorce amid personal struggles, and she sadly passed away in 1997. Jackie later married Victoria Triggs, and after that, in 2012, tied the knot with Emily Besselink. Together, Jackie and Emily welcomed twin boys, and in recent years, Jackie has embraced his role as a proud grandfather. He often shares the joy of family life on social media, describing his grandchildren as the greatest gift anyone could give another person, a purpose. Now, 74 years old, Jackie continues to promote music, sustainability through his eco-friendly business Havenhurst, and most of all, family values. His journey reflects resilience, loyalty, and a quiet strength that has helped keep the Jackson family legacy alive. Germaine Jackson. Germaine Jackson, born Germaine LaWayne Jackson in 1954, was one of the Jackson 5's defining voices. As the band's bassist and third lead singer, after Jackie and Michael, Germaine brought warmth and soul to hits like I Want You Back and I'll Be There. His smooth vocals and charisma helped shape the group's success during their explosive Motown years. When the Jackson brothers left Motown for Epic Records in 1976, Germaine made the surprising decision to stay behind, remaining loyal to Motown and his then father-in-law, Motown founder Berry Gordy. His choice marked a turning point. He launched a solo career that produced several Billboard Top 30 hits, including Daddy's Home and Let's Be Young Tonight. Germaine eventually rejoined his brothers in 1984 for the Victory Tour and other projects, continuing to contribute to the family legacy. Germaine's impact extended beyond the stage. He co-executive produced major family projects like The Jacksons, An American Dream, and The Jackson Family Honors, and later, in 2010, The Jacksons, A Family Dynasty. His 2011 memoir, You Are Not Alone, Michael, Through a Brother's Eyes, became a bestseller, offering a heartfelt personal portrait of his younger brother. Germaine has long defended Michael's legacy, particularly after Michael's 2009 passing, speaking at his memorial and frequently addressing media allegations. Germaine's personal life has been marked by both joy and complexity. He's been married and divorced 3 times and is the father of 7 children. His first marriage to Hazel Gordy, daughter of Berry Gordy, lasted from 1973 to 1988 and produced 3 children, Germaine Jr., Autumn, and Jaime. He then had 2 sons, Jeremy and Jordan, with Margaret Maldonado. In 1995, he married Alejandra Loaiza, who had previously been in a relationship with his brother Randy. And they had 2 sons, Jafar and Jermajesti, before divorcing in 2003. His 4th marriage, to Halima Rashid in 2004, ended in 2016 after legal troubles arose in their relationship. Spiritually, Germaine underwent a major shift in 1989, converting to Islam after a trip to Bahrain. He has spoken about how the faith gave him strength and once suggested that had Michael embraced Islam, it might have saved his life. While Germaine remains a beloved figure in the Jackson legacy, he has also faced challenges, including a 2023 sexual assault lawsuit that added controversy to his later years. Still, at 70 years old, Germaine's dedication to family, music, and his late brother's memory continues to define his enduring story. Marlon Jackson. Marlon Jackson, born Marlon David Jackson in 1957, was often described as the heart of the Jackson 5, a peacemaker among his brothers, and a dynamic force on stage. Known for his smooth dance moves, magnetic stage presence, and warm personality, Marlon helped the Jackson 5 captivate audiences worldwide during their rise to fame in the late 1960s and early 1970s. While Marlon ventured briefly into solo music with his 1987 album Baby Tonight, he chose a different path compared to some of his siblings, focusing on business ventures and community impact. In 1999, he co-founded the major broadcasting cable network, NBC, a network dedicated to positive programming. NBC later evolved into the Black Family Channel before being sold in 2007 to the Gospel Music Channel, now UPTV. Marlon also launched the Motherland Group, LLC, in 2008, further expanding his business interests. Driven by a passion for unity and positive change, Marlon founded the Study Peace Foundation in 2015. Through this initiative, he works to promote peace, understanding, and community building worldwide, particularly inspiring young people to embrace peaceful living. His foundation's programs encourage dialogue, empathy, and nonviolence as tools for personal and societal growth. Marlon's dedication to family is a cornerstone of his life. In 1975, at just 18, he married his longtime sweetheart Carol Ann Parker, whom he met during a tour stop in New Orleans. Together they raised 3 children, Valencia, Brittany, and Marlon Jr., and are now proud grandparents of 6. Marlon often shares the joy his grandchildren bring him, calling them one of life's greatest blessings. Marlon also played a central role in honoring his brother Michael's memory. At Michael's 2009 memorial, Marlon gave a moving eulogy, calling Michael the soul of the family and asking, "Maybe now, Michael, they will leave you alone." He and his brothers served as pallbearers, wearing gold ties, white gloves, and sunglasses as a final tribute. In later years, Marlon fiercely defended Michael against posthumous allegations, standing by his brother's character in interviews. Now 68, Marlon remains dedicated to spreading messages of peace and unity, while cherishing his role as a father, grandfather, and keeper of the Jackson family's enduring legacy. Randy Jackson. Randy Jackson, born Randall Darius Jackson in 1961, was the youngest of the Jackson brothers and the last to officially join the family band. When Germaine chose to stay with Motown in 1976, Randy stepped in to complete the Jacksons' lineup during their Epic Records era. Known for his musical versatility, Randy brought fresh energy to the group with his skills on percussion, piano, and vocals, helping shape their evolving sound in the late 1970s and 1980s. Beyond his time performing with the Jacksons, Randy carved out a career in business and music production. In 2006, he founded the Ranjack Group, a company focused on entertainment, education, and philanthropy. His work as a strategic business advisor and consultant has earned him respect in corporate circles, while he continued producing and recording music. A highlight came in 2018, when Randy partnered with his sister Janet Jackson to launch Rhythm Nation Records, an independent label that debuted with their hit single, Made for Now. Randy also co-produced Janet's well-received 2022 documentary, providing fans with a behind-the-scenes look at her life and career. In his personal life, Randy is the father of 3 children, Genevieve, Stevana, and Randy Jr. Despite his contributions to music and business, his personal journey has not been without controversy. He has faced legal and financial troubles, including bankruptcy in the 1990s, child support disputes, and domestic violence charges involving his former wife, Eliza Shaffey. Randy also became embroiled in high-profile family disputes surrounding the management of Michael Jackson's estate and the custody of Michael's children. Randy was deeply involved in honoring his brother Michael's memory. At Michael's 2009 memorial service, Randy served as a pallbearer alongside his brothers, donning the iconic white glove in tribute. Over the years, he has remained vocal in defending Michael's legacy against allegations and in challenging decisions he felt did not serve the family's best interests. Now 62, Randy continues to focus on business, music, and family, shaping his own legacy while navigating the complex dynamics that come with being part of one of the most famous families in entertainment history. The Jackson brothers each carved unique paths after their time in the spotlight as the Jackson 5, but their contributions to music and entertainment left an indelible mark on pop culture. From Tito's heartfelt blues performances to Germaine's entrepreneurial ventures and Jackie's work behind the scenes, each brother continued to evolve beyond their early fame.